indoor erging champion or the competitions, but they're just hard. I prefer to do the racing on the water. So I'm a competitive rower. I row all over. I probably did almost, I don't know, 15 or 16 different regattas throughout the country this year. And really, I view the erging as a good maintenance in the off season while the water is solid instead of liquid. And it's just a lot of fun. I actually enjoy erging. So.
Well, now wait a minute. You don't do ice skating, sculling?
I probably should up here, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're up there in Green Bay. By the way, I may be up that way, so if I make it up for New Year's Eve, my my second cousin has moved up to Door County, etc. Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
Well, Green Bay people in Green Bay are genetically different than all other footballers in the country.
Well, I'm actually watching the game right now. The Packers
Me
are.
too.
Okay.
Well, I'm from the Detroit area, so I learned rowing back at Michigan way back in the mid '80s, and rowed
okay.
again, and then that's my story.
Well, did you know Ken or is it Michael Puritan?
Yeah.
At Michigan, did you know him?
Well, I knew of him. We weren't really good friends, but yeah.
An interesting family history. But then the erging, I mean, do you normally erg in the off season? And why did you decide to kind of jump into this game?
Well, I'll do. I had fun last time back in as I said, like there were some big challenges that I did with you guys back with, you remember Andrew Benko?
Oh yeah. This is back in 2009.
Yeah. He and I were going against each other to see who could have the most kilometers. He can beat me any day on an erg as far as speed goes. He's like the gold, championship, the guy on it. But I think I posted 1.3 million erg miles for one of the challenges or something. So I have erged a lot. Normally I erg every other day, minimum about 10K a day, or for each of those days, and that's kind of my maintenance stuff in the winter.
Okay, before I go to Neil here, which has an interesting story, the thing that to let you know, and this has to do with even the Chicago Indoor Rowing Championship, our emphasis has shifted away from beating CIRC or national or international 2K records.
Yeah.
The emphasis is on personal best, and so. That's the way I like to leave it, and I'll show you something later that I tell people that are brand new to it. You guys have had experience, but you'll appreciate it when I show you some screen stuff. Now, by the way, do you see my? Here, never mind. Let me go on and move on to Neil. And the reason I said that Neil has an interesting story, he taught me something the other day I knew nothing about. And it had to do with going down to his basement and digging out an old machine that he loves. So Neil, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then why you're joining this weird band.
So I'm joining because I started erging again probably 4 or 5 months ago, and I did it to get in shape for a walking trip in England.
Oh.
And I realized how much I enjoyed it again. I've been erging on and off since 1987. And so I realized how pleasurable it was. And I basically decided to resurrect the erg in my basement. I have a concept tool in my office. And I realized how much more enjoyable that one was than the concept 2. And so I've been playing on that. I put slides underneath that one and the concept 2. It's easier on my back. And I've just been having a good time.
Well, tell them the name of that so-called erg.
It's called a Kofi, Coffey rower. They came out with a new model called Simulator, which essentially simulates sculling. And am I still on? And I'm told it's excellent. It's a new version of the old one.
Yeah,
And,
it's very interesting. I did get online and take a look at it, but what the simulator is it has the fan underneath the seat, and you're sculling with two oars. So it's it's like the original rowing machines that came out back in the 1920s, and you've got two oars. And so for scullers, it's a very good training piece of equipment, and even the people at Concept 2, Dryston, uses it, which I found interesting. But I thank you for turning me on to that, and I have put in a call and left a message to talk to them further, because I'd like to get a couple of those here in Chicago for people to take a look at. All right, then I think that's it. We've lost Ken Dolop. I don't know what happened here. I don't know. No,
I'm still here. I just muted myself.
Oh, you just muted yourself. Okay, okay. Now let me just do this, and can you see my screen? And my cursor around. Okay? Anybody not see it? All right. As I sent out in the email to you, this is the kinds of things that we're going to go through here, and I'm going to go through them quickly. A lot of this I'm going to assume that everybody knows, but I just think it's worthwhile to do it. And so the first thing I wanted to come to is on the Concept 2 site. Has everyone set up a logbook at Concept 2 already?
Yes, Currency has.
Yeah, I have.
I have.
Okay. If you haven't, then let me know. If you have problems, always rattle my cage. But once we're in here, when you go to the teams, this is where you set it up. And if I click on VCIRC here, that will bring up all the people that are in our teams. And you can go ahead and come on here and click on me. And now you know how old I am. And here's the last workouts I've done over the last couple of days, testing some things. Because like I told you, I haven't been on the erg essentially for a year. And so that's, that has now changed. And I'll come back to a few things here. Now I can go in here, when your workouts are there, you can go to the log. And the reason I'm doing that, I want to show you something, because I will use this.
The screen hasn't changed.
Yeah, no, here's mine. I've got the opening screen, and that's it. It says Teams.
Screen. Okay, hold on a second.
That's what I've got too.
Yeah, same with
Okay.
Ken.
I just have to double. Just a second. Why?
I think it's the second one on the right you have to click.
That's it. Tell me if that's any better.
There you go.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. So here's the workout that I did 1,000 meters on. But you always, anytime that you do a piece, they give you a choice to rank it or not. And once you rank that piece, what will happen is on the regular logbook, that piece will show up. And all of us do 2Ks every now and then, or do 1,000 or do 500, but we don't want to post it unless we want to get it up there as our best for the most part. But once it goes up, you can then unrank it for the next time you do it. Now, if I want to go take a look at this piece and view it, this is not, all of this information, by the way, came from RowPro. And then every time I finish a workout with RowPro, I can transfer it. I set it up on RowPro, and it automatically goes up to Concept 2. And I'll show you that a little bit later. But what's really of importance to me, and this will be important on some of the workouts that I'm not going to control your workouts, on a day-to-day basis by any means. And some people, let's come back to VCIRC. Some people are on VCIRC. When we started it with the challenges, and they did whatever they wanted to do. They put in their meters the way you normally row, and that's just fine. And if that's the reason for being part of VCIRC, that's fine. But then weekly, I'll come up with a workout, and if people want to join to do that workout, then you join. And I do it through RoPro. Now, the first one, which I will do this week, and I'll discuss it with everyone, is going to be the 4-minute O'Neill test, which I use all the time as just a fitness level measurement. And you kind of always go back. It's not doing a 2K. It's just doing you kind of go as fast as you can for 4 minutes. Or not, you know, it sets up a benchmark. But the thing that's nice to see is that the other thing that I do in some trainings, this whole piece was I was doing at 18 strokes per minute. This is my set warm-up piece. This is exactly what I do. I do 1,000 meters just to warm up. I do it at 18 strokes a minute, and I do it at a split of around 3. There's no pressure. This is a warm-up. And so you kind of, it's good to look at it to see how consistent you can keep your stroke, keep your breathing, etc. So that's one thing. Now, if I want to go back and look at the rankings, this is always a fun part. Now, when I get through this section, if you have questions, I'll stop so you can rattle my cage. I always do this anytime I bring somebody on is let's just say the 1 minute. Let's just leave it right there. I'm doing it all age ranges. I'm doing it. Yeah, okay. I generally change this to just males. So, okay. First of all, currency. You're still in my book as Penny also.
Yeah,
and then
call me Penny. It's a lot easier.
Okay. Now, as a digression, Penny, it turned out we had 2 VCIRCs up on Concept 2, and the one VCIRC was left over from the past. You were the team captain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. So I called Concept 2, and I said, and you were the only member there, so I killed it. Okay, so okay, so here is the season is 2019. In case some of you don't know, for Concept 2 in the rowing community, the season is from May 1st to April 30th. And so the 2019 season, so when they're tracking how many meters you've done this season, it started on April 1st, and it'll end next year at May 30th. So I'll put in the males, and I'll do all countries, and here I never include unverified, verified only. I don't want anybody's, if they don't have a verified time up there, I don't want to look at it. And there's several ways to get a verified time. If you're in RoPro, that's a verified time. It's automatically transmitted and so forth. An unverified time is pretty much when someone just adds it in. And, you know, when it comes, end of story, because of my thing with CIRC and establishing a personal best, you know, benchmark, I don't want to rely on someone's, I mean, there's a lot of honor involved in this. Could someone get on my erg and put in a wonderful 2K time under my name and verification? Sure. If someone does that, that's fine. You know, like I said, it poisoned the vessel that does it. So I don't worry about that. And it doesn't happen. The other way is, there is on the PM5 a way, if you transfer it from your PM5, it's verified. If you go ahead and do it through an app, such as ErgBuddy, it'll be verified. So anyways, I do all of that. Yes, you had a question? So here's everybody that is doing 1,000 meters. And remember, before I went ahead and did the verified, so you'll see that all of these are verified. The other way is if at CIRC I send to Concept 2 times from the program we use to run CIRC, which is called the venue race system that Concept 2 developed. And so that's a race, and that's considered verified as well. Well, anyways, so anybody that starts, I always tell them, you know, the mistake to me, I mean, why do I want to go up here and look at the fastest guy? Because that would only, make me feel inadequate. So I always tell people, just go to the very last page and work your way up and just see where you are. And if you can beat the guy at the bottom, that's great. And you'll see your percentiles. Now, the other thing that happens here is when I originally looked at my piece here. Where did they have it? They have it. Let me go back one more step. Come on, let's go back here for me. Okay, it's thinking still. And I'm going to go back one more. I probably could have done this a different way. But if I look at the log here, I thought they had this here. I missed it. I'm not going to bore you with time if it doesn't show up right now. Yeah, let me look at this. I thought it was there. Normally what they have here, and I'm missing the screen that it's on, they actually tell you that what your ranking is, that you're 97 out of 98 with this time. And so you kind of know where you are, and that way you can move up the steps. Now, again, the other thing is training partners, and this is something that I really would like everybody to do. I can go in here and say, Ken, I'd like you to be my training partner, and send you an email. And so one thing which I encourage among the VCIRC people, we've got the 15 people signed up right now, and it's kind of like another partner that you can have during the course of every day working on. And I encourage people to do that, and that way you can go ahead and pick people to be, a partner of yours. And so that I think is just very, very valuable. The other thing here is the Concept 2 utility. I don't know when the last time any of you have checked the version of your PM monitor. Now, RoPro depends upon a PM 3, 4, or 5. Do all of you have, does anybody not have one of those 3 PMs? Okay, nobody. And the other thing is you want to download the Concept utility onto your desktop, and when you do that and you plug in your monitor, it'll read the monitor. You just follow the instructions, and it'll download the latest version of the firmware that goes on your monitor. And you should do that every 6 months. Now, when you're part of VCIRC, I'll monitor that as it were all the time. I have a very close relationship with Concept 2, and more important with Scott Hamilton, who's the chief engineer that works with the development team on the PM monitors. And so, oh, and by the way, Neil, I did find out that Coffee does have a relationship with Concept 2 in terms of using a lot of their parts.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Then once you get the utility down, let's see here just a second. Boom, 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 boom. There it is. This is what comes up. Once you download it on your laptop, it'll say update the firmware. I have mine plugged in right now. You pick the one you want, and you just follow the instructions. And if I go here and pick connect it to the computer, and I am connected, but I don't have it on, and so there it all of a sudden recognizes that I'm connected, and it's going to read it, and it's going to tell me that you currently have firmware version 27. And even since I did this last week, they already have an update. Okay? Interesting. 27.002. That came out this, well, no, I don't want to put that in yet. I don't want to do a beta firmware. So that's it. I'm done with that. Again, you know, coming back just to some of those things here on this section, does anybody have any questions about any of this?
Okay, I do, John.
Yeah, Penny.
Okay. I use a brand new Concept 2 at the health club I belong to. They just got it 2 months ago.
Okay.
Now, can I plug in, put my computer into that when I'm rowing?
Yes.
Okay, because the manager is a good friend of mine. He doesn't care what I do.
Right. One thing that I have to check out, I will come back. I'll go into the ROPO review right now. Okay, next. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, then back on the RoPro. Let me just move on over here. First of all, has anybody not downloaded RoPro or is not going to download RoPro?
I haven't yet, but I plan to.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. First of all, you can go up and get a 30-day trial at no cost, and it's $99, and there's a code for getting a discount. I don't remember if it was 15 or 25%. I'm not looking at the other site right now. And if you don't find that, I will get you the code because, again, I know Peter Lurfin that developed digital rowing, and I'll get a code from him, okay?
Okay.
Now, don't want that. Don't want that. Now once you get it down, there is one thing that is important, so let me go to, let me do this real quick.
Well, there's two ways that you can have a clear recovery. One being that you actually see Philadelphia.
Digital rowing. Come on, get me to the. I don't want that. I want the. Get me to the home page. Come on, there we go. Let's see today. Well, okay. December special. It was the November special. He's smart. It's 25% off all plans. There's the code. Okay. But one thing that they will ask you about when you go to download it is okay, products. Okay, learn more here. They've just released 5.2, but 5.2 is for a 64-bit system. And so what you have to know when you pick it is whether or not your computer is a 32-bit hardware configuration or a 64-bit. And in case you're not sure where to find that out, again, this will work on Macs as well. I'm working on Windows, and so I'll leave it to the Mac people to tell me how they get to their settings. But on a Windows system, you get to settings, and when you go to System on Settings, you go ahead and find About, and when you click on About, you'll find out everything about all of the internal, stuff on the engine. It's just like knowing everything inside the engine of the car that you never cared about. But when you come on down here and it says System Type, it's a 32-bit operating system. And so it's not a 64-bit. Forget this 64 stuff here. We're talking about bit. And so the sample I have on my desktop here, my laptop is a 64. And this is a Windows 10, but it's a 32 Windows 10. I have a laptop that's a 64 Windows 10. And the graphics are much better with that 5.2, just to let you know. And I use the 5.2 when I row. It's set up upstairs in my rowing room where that's connected. But that's the only thing to keep in mind, because what will happen is if you download the 32 or the 64-bit on your computer and it's a 32-bit, you'll get a notice as you go to open it that it won't work. Okay? And then you'll have to deal with it. Now, having said all of that, a couple things here that I want to go through, again, just as a reminder here. There's a quick row and a few, but the first thing I want to talk about is the handshake issue. When you go into RoPro, now, again, this is the 32-bit that I'm looking at, but if you open up the 64, like I said, the graphics are a little cleaner. You'll find the same thing, except what happens is they'll say that, you know, that it actually says it, that your PM is not connected. And one of the things that nobody knows, so if my PM is connected right now, but it's not registered, it's not picking it up. So I have to turn off my PM monitor. And the question is, how do you turn it off? You're used to letting it just go to sleep and go off because it goes off automatically. But if you take the menu button and press it 4 times consecutively, it'll turn off the monitor. So now the monitor is off. I'm doing that right now as I'm talking to you, and now I'm going to go ahead and turn on the monitor, and I'm hoping that all of a sudden she becomes recognizable. Come on. To be patient here a few moments. I'm going to try again. All right, hit again. See if she picks up. Otherwise, I'm going to close RoPro and reopen it, and it'll connect. But that sometimes it's just the stuff. There you go. Now I've gone green. Does everybody see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you see that it's gone green. It can be frustrating if you didn't know how to turn that monitor off. Okay. So on this, and by the way, Penny, just coming back to you, you just, the one thing that you need, Penny, is the cable. Everybody needs this. The cable that connects the monitor to RoPro or to your computer is a printer's cable.
Okay.
And that's what you have to get. It has the square end. If you look at the back of your monitor, you'll see that there's a receptacle at the back that is kind of like a square. It's not like the jacks, okay?
I'm saying that. I looked at it.
Yeah, that's just a straight printer. You know, take it off of any printer and look at the back of your printer. If that's what you need, okay? If you run into a problem, give me a call, okay?
Yeah, got it.
They have them on the Concept 2 site.
Yes,
Yeah,
they do.
They're like $5.50.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, you can use any printer's cable if you didn't know that, okay?
Okay, good. Thank you.
And then the first thing to do, again, some of these menus are different on the 64-bit, but you'll get it. You go to, let's just try it here. I have to always kind of do a session setup here. The first thing I want to do is a quick row. And that's the first thing to do with GoPro, is just go into a quick row. Let's see, do they have it here? Okay, my name, the user. You're going to have to put that in. If it says guest user, you have to add your name and put it in there. So this is going to be me. It doesn't say a guest row. Come on, come on. Well, let's go. I'm going to go online. Now, let me explain something. In the new version, let's take another look at the control center. Let me just... Okay, let's get all of this stuff. There we go. On the control center, you can set up all sorts of things. Right now, what I've got here is, well, let's just look at it. Go to System Settings, And I've got it on all scenery with static water. I could do all scenery with live water. I can do 3D water on. You can play with this. I'm not going to waste time on it. The 2D version, if you've ever gone to a race at any of the indoor races during January, February, March, the 2D view is the little boats going across the screen. Okay. The other thing you can do here is put on what you want to display at the bottom of your monitor, okay? And also on the bottom here what they're displaying. Right now I just changed it to, the 2D. If I want to go back right now to the other view, I have to close it down and reopen it. The 3D view is much improved. All of the graphics are much improved on the 64-bit. But anyways, getting back over here to the let's get back to the control center. So, by the way, I can be rowing. I'm just going to go through a bunch of things before it brings up the control center again. I can do a bunch of things. I don't have to go any further. In other words, I've got the screen here in the background. I could just start rowing and doing a piece and watch myself row. But what we'll be doing is going to orbits. And what orbits does is we're going to go to the session list, and what it's looking for right now, it is going to the orbits server. And this, for example, I have set up a 4-minute test right here, and I just put it up here for you to see it. And it's set up for 1, and it is set up as a are you sure you want to register for this session? Okay, I'm already registered. Okay, now I'm registered twice. Okay? And if I want to see the participants, it's going to be there. No session is selected. No, come on. And there it is, I'm there. And so when we row together, this is where we will go back. You'll go online, you'll pick the event, and those will always be, I'm going to make them public until I run into a problem. I believe that they can get, here's everybody that's rowing online today. You can see 1, 2, 3 people. People use this to, and here's the Christmas FM on December 23rd. They've got 16 people. I don't know what the maximum is, how many people they can get on. Then you get down here, and this is going way up. Christmas, yeah, a lot of people doing it over the Christmas time. And by the way, you start getting a lot of these people to do it because they're also part of the challenge, the personal challenges, and they like to race together. And then there's details here. And there would be an explanation of the 4-minute test, etc. So that's now. Another thing is, and did I put it up here? The quick row. Oh, that was the one thing that they had a session set up here, and I thought that they had it. It's me. And it's online, and oh, there it is, a quick row. It's also showing me that I'm connected to the orbit server, and I can do a quick row, and I can do 1,000. I can go ahead and put it in row name, test, and row. Now I'm going to get an alarm here that says configure check-in. They're going to tell me I can't row because I've got the monitor off of my machine and it's not connected. And so they should be saying that I can't do it. But anyway, it makes no difference. But the point is this is a good way for you to test when you're on your machine. It's just do a quick row. It's the way to, oh yeah, it's all working right. I'm getting comfortable with it, and there we go. By the way, how many have already rowed a session on RowPro? No one yet? Okay. In that case, I recommend you go ahead and do. Okay, now why can't I? I'm going to withdraw. Okay. Okay, there's that. There is also the handshake issues, what I was talking about with the monitor. Sending workouts to C2. When you go into RoPro, I started to look for it in this version, but I couldn't find it because I'm used to it in the 64-bit. And so if you have a problem finding how to set up the automatically set, by the way, if you row today on RoPro and you don't have it set up to send it up to Concept 2, well, when you do it tomorrow or the next day, it'll grab everything you've got, run it up to Concept 2, and make sure you don't have duplicates, okay? The other thing here is MyRoPro. MyRoPro is an app. You just go up to, go to the Apple App Store and look for MyRoPro. You can go in Android as well with Google and so forth and find MyRoPro. And the only thing that I haven't tested yet, and this could pertain to you, Penny, is that, and I'm going to be testing this tomorrow. The RoPro app, or MyRoPro, allows me to create a row session in RoPro. So I put that test today. I did that through the app. But that's really all I can do. I can join sessions that are up there. It gives me the whole menu. In other words, the same menu that we looked at once is on. Moment here. Yeah, man. Get rid of that. Oh, man. Okay. I'm lost. Okay. Just go to Orbits again. The session list. On the app, I can create any of these sessions and join the ones that are public. And that's it. What I haven't tested is if I take my phone through its Bluetooth connection to the PM5. The PM5 has Bluetooth connection. And it could very well be that when I start rowing on that session with the monitor and so forth, it will come up. I don't know yet. That's what I don't know. So I still have my computer with me. And so I will send a note to everybody if I find that I can row with the MyRoPro without taking your computer down to the basement or to the health club. Okay? That really kind of it covers those things. And I mentioned about the VCIRC, the programs, that weekly team rows and a 4-minute test or not. And so, first of all, I'll stop right there to see if anybody has any questions on anything that I went over, and I hope it was helpful. Anybody got a question?
I have a question, John, about the
heart rate.
How does RoPro pick up the heart rate?
Essentially through your monitor. So if you're using a PM5, what kind of a heart rate do you have? Monitor.
I have a PM5, and it's at the health club.
Okay, and what kind of a chest monitor do you have, or heart rate monitor?
Well, that's why I asked. I don't have one yet, so I'm looking for.
Okay. Yeah, I would recommend. I'll send an email on that to everybody. But the Garmin is the one I use. You can find it somewhere between $50 to $60. It's on Concept 2's site, and it works through Bluetooth. And so you put it on, and the minute you've got it on, you configure your monitor there is a, hold on one second.
You're talking about the PM5 monitor?
Yeah, the PM5 monitor.
Okay.
If you go to the site and you go to, going to have it here, heart rate, here we go. Heart rate equipment. Polar, you have to have a cable that ties into your monitor. So I recommend if you've got a PM5, get the, what happened? Here's the PM4, PM3, PM4, PM5. Both of them have ANT technology. I'm sorry. No, I'm mistaken. They don't have Bluetooth. It's through ANT technology. So the Garmin does work, and I'll shoot you an email on it without wasting time here. Then once you've got that on, there is a setting. See, here's Garmin and Suunto, and well, anyways, the Garmin Suunto works. I like the Garmin, and I'll send you the model number and everything. In fact, you know something? I may be able to do better than that. Bear with me a minute. Let's see if I have it here. This is on the VCIRC site, and don't know if I put a link to it or not. Okay, to participate, also recommend a heart rate monitor, Concept 2. This is one, and this is another one. Here's, and I had the one for Amazon, and I think it's hard to find this particular model. But this is the Garmin one. It costs $52. Okay.
Okay.
And then what happens is that on the monitor, when you go back to the menu and you go to more options, once you hit more options, you'll see that it says connect heart rate, ANT or Bluetooth Smart. And you press that, and it's saying to me right now that no belts are found. But if I've got the belt on, I just have to give it a few moments for it to finally pick up, and all of a sudden it'll come up, you'll confirm it, and it's also going to be picked up by RoPro. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay. Coming back down to this, I guess I'm willing to do sessions during the week. The first one I would like to do is a 4-minute O'Neill test. And what the 4-minute O'Neill test does, I wish I'd put up the graph, but at the end of the 4-minute O'Neill test, it kind of says where you're at in your training regimen. It's a short way, but it's been used by the Brits for the last 10 years. And so it's got a lot of cumulative data that is proven to be accurate. And so it tells your level of fitness. And that helps me and it helps you. Are you people interested in doing it sometime this week?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well then first of all, what is a good time that works for everybody? Let's just kind of go down the list here. Penny, are you interested?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Andrew came in, but he's not. Oh, did he get cut off?
I'm here, John. I was a little bit late. I'm just listening.
Well, okay. Well, introduce yourself, Andrew, to the gang. We've got Penny Kern, John Moritic, Ken Doleff, Neil, and myself. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So again, Andrew Benko, 50 years old, soon to be 51. Been really competing in indoor rowing for probably the last 11 years seriously. So in my 40s, I've got all the American records from I think the 1,000 meters up to the marathon, and won the Crash Bees I think 6 times. And so turning 50, I've got all the world records from 1,000 meters up to the half marathon. And join the group. It's just always interesting to listen to different training techniques and anything I can share to help people out also. So looking forward to working with the group here.
But you promise not to intimidate them, please.
Oh no, everything's relative. It's all fun. It's just really interesting. It's just amazing the people you meet. If people do get a chance to go to the indoor championships, they're moving them around. Last year they had it in Washington D.C. This year it'll be down out in California. And the people you meet, especially over in England and Germany and just across the globe, it's really a lot of fun. So I'd encourage people to get involved and just have some fun with it.
We were just discussing before you came on. I was asking people whether or not they were interested in doing the 4-minute test sometime this week, and the consensus was yes. And so I'm going down the list, and so I was just asking Penny, what time would work for you? Give me a range.
Well, the health club, I can be there from 7 to 10 every day, so it makes no difference.
Is that 7 a.m. or p.m.?
AM.
7 to 10. Okay. Andrew, what about you?
I'll be late afternoon if I do it. So it'll be 4 o'clock in the afternoon later. So, but I've done a 4-minute test and I'm pretty good there. I know kind of where I stand, so that's not a priority for me, John.
Okay. John Marinick, but what about you, sir?
Afternoons, I can go to the health club.
Afternoons, give me a 3-hour window there.
I would say from 1 to 4.
1 to 4. Okay. Any day, I forgot to ask, but any day, Monday through Friday? Through Saturday or Sunday, I don't care.
For me, it would be Monday, Wednesday.
Okay. Penny, what about you?
Anything's okay. I work around everything.
Okay, hon. And then Ken, what about you?
Well, I mean, are you meaning that we have to do this at a specific time, or just?
Well, no. But what I'm going to do is I'll first of all I'll run several of them, but I'm going to put them up on RowPro, and so I just don't want to pick a time that's convenient for me. I mean, I'm very flexible like Penny. I can do it any time in a 24-hour period. So yeah, I'll run several of them.
Yeah, I probably am not going to use RowPro, so I kind of like just rowing without any of the other stuff.
So you're non-RowPro.
Yeah, and then I'll just load up my stuff through the utility up to.
Okay, that's fine. And then Neil, what about you?
I'm pretty busy next week. I'd have to look at my schedule, but I'm always free on Sunday afternoon around 3.
Sundays around 3. Okay. I mean, would you like to do the 4-minute?
Yeah, I'll do it. With the group or on RowPro by myself. I'll do it.
Okay. And by the way, once you do it, I mean, I can talk to you after you do it, even if you just do it privately. It doesn't have to be. But what I'll try to do is I'll work this out now that I know the available times, and I'll come back with a recommendation. And plus, there will be some people who are not on board here today that will kick in. Okay. That's now getting back to CIRC. Again, people on CIRC may only join because they just want to have a camaraderie of doing their own workouts. They do them privately, but that's it, and that's fine. There are those that are going to want to do just for the challenges. There's, as I mentioned, there's a challenge going on right now, which is a personal challenge at Concept 2 that has nothing to do with the team, and it's a chance, you know, to get back into it. If you want to go ahead and push meters, you know, that's fine. Certainly anything you do goes up during that challenge. I think you have to sign up for it first. Maybe you don't. Or I think you can do it, and you can sign up as late as something like the 7th of January after it's over. It only goes until the end of this month. And I'll send an email about that. I'll just double check it on Concept 2 site. And then, you know, there are those that do enjoy the Row Pro where we're doing it together. And those will be once a week. And I'll run several of them depending on people's schedule. It doesn't mean, in other words, every time you do an online row, there's an organizer, and that's the person that, now, interestingly enough, the way in which the Orbits is organized is that everybody's a participant. They don't have a separate category for a referee or a judge. And so I become a participant in every one of them, although I may not row in every one of them. I'm only there to start it and to kind of, that's it. I don't row with it. Or I may row with it with a, you know, doing it much slower. The ones that I do during the week, for the most part, are always going to be timed rows. They're not going to be distance rows. And they focus more on just breathing, on rhythm, not necessarily on power, although I do a ladder program that takes you up and brings you down. And the ladder program is based on stroke rate and based on power. And so you'll be at the same stroke rate, but you'll be increasing your power every 500 meters. And so you'll go up and then you'll come down. And it's like a 9-step workout. But again, the emphasis and the purpose of it is not to break records, but to get into form. And we'll do that. That'll be available every week. And I'll take any suggestions that you have. I mean, a lot of you know, people are out there. I mean, Andrew, you've got more experience, even I do, when it comes to competition. And so if you have thoughts on things, you know, Neil, you're on the other end of it. Andrew, by the way, are you a water rower as well? Are you?
Actually, I did row for a year in college at Purdue 30 years ago, just to learn the technique, but I ended up joining the track team. So really, it's just been 1 year and about it. Other than that, it's been more indoor.
Well, you know, in this group, we've got, I think it's Ken and Neil that spend most of their time on the water. Is that fair enough to say?
No, I've never been on the water.
You don't spend time on the water, Neil?
Never.
Oh, okay. So it's only Ken. In fact, Currents, or Penny, when's the last time you were on?
I haven't rowed in probably 5 years.
Okay, okay. And by the way, another thing which I will arrange, if people want to row on the water next summer, we'll arrange a VCIRC day down at one of the clubs, and you can get wet if you want to.
That's great.
Can I have a question for Andrew?
Go ahead.
Andrew, when did you row at Purdue?
It had been 1986, 1987. So that was my freshman year at college.
Do you know Jim Calto?
No, that name does not ring a bell. I was on the novice team, so I knew them pretty well. I knew a couple of the
Okay. He was at Purdue around those times, and he rowed all 4 years.
Yeah, our coach was Kevin Sauer, and he's now kind of followed him. He's out coaching the Virginia women's team and really done pretty well. Helped out on the Olympic team.
Okay, I'll ask my son if he's heard of you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
All right. I said this would be an hour. It's 4 o'clock. Any other questions? Was it helpful?
Yes, very.
Yeah, it's
What's
nice.
happening with the 16 training program?
That's going to start on Wednesday, and Neil, I'll be back in touch with you tomorrow on that.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen?
No, but
Okay.
thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
I think we've got a good starting group here, and we're going to be pretty aggressive. And so whether or not we can get up the numbers of participants for the team challenge in January, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope to get you guys excited about it too, so we can see how we're not going to beat the Ancient Mariners or any of those groups. I mean, they're out there doing, 20,000 meters a day each. And so, and they haven't stopped for 5 years. I mean, that 360 a year. So there is fanaticism in the rolling community. All right. I thank you much. I'll let you get on back to your games. And I don't know if we can say go Bears to this group because we're pretty spread around the country in a way.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Not a problem. I'll sign off here shortly.
I have suspicious activity on my debit card. Now what? Sorry. With BMO Harris, you can just freeze your card right from your phone. Wow, really? Yeah. You can unfreeze it too.